Right, and now we are going to have the lag. It's all gone a bit quiet in here now. There was a good crowd in for that last match between Beato and Manus, and a lot of them have dipped out for a bit of a break now. I'm sure they'll filter back in as this one proceeds. May well get to a point where this is the only match still out there in an hour or two from now. So we're finally ready to go. And it will be Kuo Po Cheng to start us off. Race to 10 for a place in the last 16 of the Hanoi Open.
Decent break, potting the one ball. Can see a little edge of the blue too, not enough to pot it.
He's played more pool than Sanchez Ruiz this week. The Spaniard has had 4 matches so far. Kuo Po Cheng has had 6. Went to the loser side quite early.
Looks a little pacey, that. He's left a pot here. What's gone wrong?
Sanchez Ruiz is here undefeated. Won his first 3 matches for a total loss of only 5 racks. But a very different story earlier today. In the last 64, he was 6-1 down to Raymond Farian of the Philippines, and then won 9 of the next 11 racks to turn it round and win 10-8.
He's missed the cannon. He was trying to send the cue ball into the 9 off 2 rails. He's hooked himself. Here comes the jump cue. It's not the most difficult of jump shots. It's just watching the 9 ball. Yeah. Has he got away with it though? Difficult to see from there what Kuo Po Cheng's got.
Well, what he's got now is a decent chance to lead early on. Said he had to go to the loser's side. He was 1 rack away from going out as early as losers round 2. Came through Hill against Jericho of Indonesia. And fairly comfortable against Sharan Shakaran and Salvador Garcia, taking him through to the last 64, where earlier today he had a fine win over the young Philippines player, Bernie Regalario, by 10 racks to 7. Oh, what a golden chance he's passed up.
Yeah, when they were doing the practice racks, Michael, we were talking about his chances. And I said he's got to take his chances. I mean, that is That is poor cueing. Very easy to pot that and just draw back.
He almost seemed to come up out of the shot even as he was making his backswing. Well, how often do you get away with things like that against one of the very best players in the world? Not often is the answer. And a characteristically efficient Francisco Sanchez Ruiz mops up for a 1-0 lead. Now, big developments on table 17. Georgi Georgiev of Bulgaria and Andri Januarta of Indonesia have gone hill-hill. They're playing for the right to take on Jeffrey Rodder in the last 16. Francesco Candela gave Shane Van Bonen a decent contest when they met at the US Open in Atlantic City back in August. And it looks as though he intends to do the same today because Candela has won the opening rack. 2-all between David O'Cady and Dean Shields. And they are the only remaining matches still going. So disappointing miss, you have to say, from Kuo Po Cheng towards the end of that opening rack. He didn't get back to the table. And so we will see the first break in this match from Francisco Sanchez Ruiz.
Hooked on the yellow one. Yeah, we see that a fair bit. If you don't pot the one, it's that point. It'll come back down bottom end of the table.
So I mentioned it was 2005. Kuo Po Cheng was beaten in the world final by Wu Chia-Ching. And it was a final he was so close to winning. He led 16-12. It was race to 17, but Wu just kept on going and won the last 5 racks for the match. And he would have gone into the final, Kuo, in absolutely bouncing form. He'd beaten the legendary American Rodney Morris in the semis. And he beat a player of a similar ilk, Johnny Archer, to get to the final again 5 years later in Qatar. And this time lost to Francisco Bustamante. A much more comprehensive defeat that time. He's also been an Asian Games gold medalist. Something which is a very big deal in this corner of the globe.
I think he's just trying to get some distance here. Yeah, doesn't want to hit the pink 4. Be happy with this one. Good effort. Good return though. That is a really tidy safety shot. It's going to be awkward to hit as well. No balls are tied up because the blue 2 and the brown 7 is a dead set combination. He's decided to play the deliberate and tie the 8 up. Pretty smart play. He might be in trouble again here though. May have to swerve it a little bit to get to the angle. If he misses the one ball, he would be on 2 fouls, but it looks like there's an easy 1-9 combo set. Got to hit a rail after contact. Oh, he's missed it. Surely he's going to play the 1-9 combo.
Yeah, he's eyeing it up already. So had a chance to win the first rack. He's got an even better one here. Just needs a bit of lining up. And with that 1-9 combination, it's an early win for Kuo Po Cheng in the second rack. So he's level at 1-all. 2-all between David O'Cady and Dean Shields. I think it's a bit of a David versus Goliath scenario where David is actually the giant. And speaking of giants, Shane Van Boning in action on table 2, but he's 2-0 down against Francesco Candela. And still no white smoke emerging from table 17, Georgi Georgiev and Andrei Januarta in that deciding rack. With a look at the 1-9, he was never going to miss that realistically with ball in hand. So yeah, the atmosphere has dipped a bit after all the drama of the Beato-Manus match as we come towards the end of this Friday. I suspect that quite a few of those may well be over on table 17. They love a hill, these crowds. 1-all here. And just like from his only previous break in the match, he's made the one in the side. And these have ended up very sweet, Carl.
Yeah, 2 balls come over this corner, hasn't it? So it's an easy opener. The red 3's in the middle of the table. The pink 4, if it passes the 8 ball into the bottom left, that's going to make life very, very easy here.
Big ask for him to win this match, but even if he makes it a close contest, it wouldn't be the first time he's done that against one of the biggest names in the game here in Hanoi. He got to the last 64 last year, played Fedor Gorst, who had just been in the final of the US Open, and pushed him hard, only going down 10-8 in the end.
Does go past the 8 ball. Held his hand up, obviously didn't play that shot. Can he reach this ball? It's a bit stretchy.
And surely that's what caused him to miss it.
Might only be one apiece, but Kuo Po Cheng has missed a couple of silly balls so far. Not left anything easy. Nothing easy in the sense of potting the ball. I mean, look at this ball he's missed.
That's not great either, though. So, chance for Kuo to get back in and make amends. Oh, feels a bit flat at the moment. It's that feeling that you often get in an arena when a big dramatic match has just finished. Sanchez Ruiz would certainly have been soaking that up, because I know he was in the arena when that Beato-Manos match was going on the practice tables, which are at our end of the hall here.
Yeah, I mean, he's not left anything easy again here, has he? I'd like to have that one again. Played safe and completely mishit it. And he's left an opportunity here. Be careful with the scratch. Cue ball's got away from him somewhat.
That seemed like a big bounce again to you off the short rail coming back up?
Yeah, maybe. As I said, it's humid and starts to get under the cloth a little bit. You get a big bounce.
It's been quite a feature of today's play right since the beginning.
Nobody wants rack 3 at the moment.
Don't often see Fran looking quite that disgusted with himself. And this looks fine. So, Kuo Po Cheng, in all probability, is going to take an early lead here.
Yeah, even the cue ball there, Michael, looked like it pinged off the rail.
So Kuo Po Cheng lost the opening rack, but he's won both that they've played since, and for the first time he leads at 2-1. David O'Cady has gone in front against Dean Shields at 3-2. Shane Van Boning has won the third rack against Francesco Candela, but it's the only rack he's won so far, the Italian leading 2-1. And it looks as though that Georgi Georgiev-Andrei Januarta match is going through a very lengthy final rack. It's been 9-all on the screen in front of us here for some time. Be a big moment for either of those players if they were to make the final 16. That's the 7 that was left in the jaws by Sanchez Ruiz, and that was the 9, which completed Kuo Po Cheng's clearance from there. So he's had 2 breaks so far in this match, and he's made the one in the side from both of them. And there's the hat-trick.
Yeah, he's got a good break. Potting this one with some good power about it as well. Struggling for an easy opener though here. Possible cross bank into right centre. Looks like he's opting for safety though. Could maybe play it up the rail as well. He has done. He's made it as well. Cue ball needs to stop though. It's going to land on the 3.
Not the first time he's featured in the single elimination phase of a matchroom event this year. Got to the last 64 of the World Championship in Jeddah in early summer, lost to Dang Jinhu.
This will test the old queuing. Jacked up to leave himself a shot on the pink 4. Pretty straight as well. Well, that one was right out the top draw. What a beauty.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mini slog for him so far in this match. That's the sort of shot that might give him the chance to get properly up and running. Spent most of his 20s FSR bubbling under, really. He was a very good player and did well in a lot of tournaments, but you never felt he was one of the top players, and certainly big doubt as to whether things like big titles and Mosconi's lay in his future. And then really towards the end of 2021 he started putting together a lot of good runs in tournaments, and then kicked on from there throughout 2022, and as I said, into the early months of 23 as well. This looks absolutely perfect. So, for the second time, we're going to be level. It's 2-all. Both of the Indonesian players who made it to this round have progressed to the next round, because Andriy Januarta has won that deciding rack against Georgi Georgiev. The Bulgarian might have fancied a really extended run here. Winner of the Seattle Open in a hill-hill finish in the final against Lucas Fracasso-Werner just a few weeks ago. And he's done reasonably well getting to the last 32, but he will go no further, and Januarta will face Jeffrey Rodda tomorrow for a place in the quarter-finals. Shane Van Boning was 2-0 down to Francesco Candela. He's now back on level terms at 2-all, and David O'Cady has won the 6th rack to open a 4-2 lead against the English player Dean Shields. Shields, the only British player left in the draw, other than the defending champion Jason Shaw. So a match that hasn't really come to life yet. Level at 2-all. So it's 2 breaks and he hasn't made the one on the side from either.
Yeah, what's he faced with here? He'll be really tempted with the bank into the side pocket. That gives him a chance to hold for the blue 2. Yeah, started to play it nice. You could see he wasn't dead straight on it. Had to pull the cue ball off a couple of rails, but he played it. He played it spot on. Now it's a long stop shot. Well, didn't go in clean, did it? Kind of wobbled its way in.
Yeah, sort of sums up how the match has gone, really. Nothing come easily so far. We already know Hecklin Catchy and Joshua Filler had claimed the first 2 automatic spots on the European Mosconi Cup team. The last one is being decided here this week. Mickey Kraus came here occupying the 1 remaining automatic position. He's now out of the tournament, beaten earlier today by Shane van Boning. Victor Zielinski was one of the 3 players who could have overtaken Kraus this week, but he didn't even get to single elimination. So the only players left who can deny Kraus automatic qualification for a Mosconi debut: David O'Cady and the man at the table. If O'Cady gets to the final, he will overtake Mickey Kraus by a mere $178. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, though, can only overtake the Dane by winning the tournament. And what he is going to win is this rack. So, back into the lead with a quick kill there. Swiftly through rack 5. 3-2 to FSR. Didn't make the one in the side, but still made the break and run. First from either player in this match. Speaking of David O'Cady, he's now carved out a 5-2 lead over Dean Shields, and it's 3 racks in a row for Shane van Boning. So he leads Francesco Candela at 3-2. So there is a possibility, Carl, if we were to have an all-Spanish final here on Sunday, that there could be a big prize on the line as well. That last automatic Mosconi spot, because, as I've said, O'Cady will overtake Mickey Kraus if he gets to the final. But of course, if FSR wins the title, he'd move ahead of both of them.
Lots to play for. Always seems to be the case come sort of the end of the season. The storylines are all there. That's better. He's made that 1. And he can see the 2 Can he pot it and get shape?
Just to confirm, Sanchez Ruiz and Al-Qaedi are in opposite halves of the draw, so that scenario I painted is something that can happen. Spent a while figuring it out, but it was all worth the labour. It's part of your team, of course, next week, Carl, in the Reyes Cup, and I know your attitude is generally to leave the players to it this week while they're still in the tournament, but even in casual conversation, have you been talking to them much about it? Maybe telling them not to miss 3 balls like that?
Yeah, that's not going to help, is it? No, we did go to the club, not last night, the night before. It was more of a case of taking Mickey Krause. I went with Jason, and then the 2 Spaniards showed up. Just wanted to get Mickey used to playing Scotch doubles race to 5, because I'm sure he's not done much of it over his career. And the club was packed, actually. They all come flooding round the table. There were about 250 people stood watching. So it was a real good, real good vibe. And even though it's practice and there's nothing on the line, when you play Scotch doubles, you don't want to sort of make a fool of yourself or let your partner down. So it's sort of really good practice, really good training. There's one of them big bounces we've been talking about off the rail. But yeah, individual tournament right before the Reyes Cup. I mean, what do you really do? Players are here to try and win this tournament. Obviously David, Jason, Francisco still in the tournament, and 3 of them have a chance to be here tomorrow. Of course, Jason's made it through. Al-Qaedi's 5-2 up. And then this match here, Mickey Krause only lost out Hill to SVB. Catch is in form. He's going to be playing some exhibitions over the next few nights. That was pleasing to the ears.
Yeah, we were talking over his match, weren't we, when he went out of the tournament?
Both his TV matches I did.
Yeah, well, we were together, though, in the second one, and you were saying that once it was over, if he lost, you were going to go and speak to him about his form and his game. And did that conversation happen? Anything you can tell us about it?
Yeah, I spoke to him this morning. I just said, pal, what are you up to? Talk to me. I think he knew what I meant. He said, oh, I'm going to be doing exhibitions the next few nights around Hanoi. That was end the convo. That's all I needed to know. He knew. There's the big bounce again, Michael. It's just pinging a little bit, isn't it, off the top rail? This time it's not so bad. He's landed in the side pocket. Yeah, it's just not being match sharp. Obviously, Catcher decided to take a few months off after the World Final. That's up to him.
Yeah, it's not happening for Francisco Sanchez Ruiz at all yet in this match. It was one of those we looked at and thought he should win it comfortably. It's anything but comfortable at the moment. 3-all. I guess, though, and obviously you know much better than I do, that's probably just Catchy's way. I wouldn't imagine he's one to get into big, deep analytical discussions about things.
No, I mean, obviously I've been part of the Mosconi Cup with Alex Layla. When Catchy played in the team, it's just his way, it's his style, there's nothing wrong with it. In some ways, you've just got to sort of respect it and just let him, do his own thing.
One more question on this for now anyway, Carl. Have you seen the actual Reyes Cup, the trophy itself?
I haven't. I know it's here because it was in the luggage on the way over, but I've actually not physically seen it, so...
Even a photo of
Nothing,
it?
I've not seen anything.
Yeah, just wondering what it's actually going to look like.
No, I don't know. Don't have a clue what it's like.
3-all then in this last 32 encounter.
He's breaking the better of the two. He's going to get a little flick here to see the blue too. If it wasn't for that last nudge, it'd have been hooked.
Just one score to update you on while we were talking there. David O'Cady has gone further ahead now against Dean Shields. Shields was the player who ended the hopes of Vietnam's biggest name, Duong Quoc Hoang, earlier today. And Duong will now turn his thoughts to Manila because he is part of the Asian team.
He's losing the cue ball somewhat.
Oh, he's gone for the early win and he's got it. The 4-9 combination by Kuo Po Cheng. 2 in a row for him. He leads 4-3. Shane Van Boning's got another one on the board, leading Francesco Candela 4-2 now. Just looking ahead to the last 16 tomorrow, we know a number of the matches now. James Aranis is going to play Claudio Cachi. An all-Philippines clash between Johan Chua and Jeffrey Ignacio. 6 Philippines players are through to the weekend. That will be the only match in the last 16 where 2 of them face each other. We also know that Ko Ping Chung is going to play Carlo Biado, so that's a clash of former US Open winners. And Jason Shaw, last year's winner of this title, will play Edward Koyongian. And the only other confirmed tie, Jeffrey Rodder, quarter-finalist at the US Open against Andri Januarta. Back here, it's 4-3 to Ko. Oh, he's made the one in the side again, but that's not the only ball he's pocketed, and this is going to be a very good chance for FSR to get level straight away.
Yeah, all the balls are in the open. Too thin on the break this time. Yeah, if you're watching and you're thinking, why doesn't he chase the 9 ball with the 2 ball? That's not quite on, so that would be very risky. At this level, at the top level, clearing the table is a much better option.
It's only the second time that he's been past the last 32 of a big field matchroom event this year. Went out in the last 64 in his world title defence. The same at the US Open. Last 32 defeat at the UK Open against Petri Mäkinen, who went on to reach the semi-finals. So the only really good run he's had in a matchroom event so far this year was at the European Open, where Shane Van Boning ended his hopes in the last 8. And then in the Matchroom Invitational tournaments at the start of the year, he made a bit of an impact in both of those. Got to the final day of the Premier League, but finished last of the 6 players who got to that stage. And did win his opening match at the World Masters against James Aranis, who had been to the semi-finals of that event last year. Then in the quarters he played the defending champion Kuo Po Cheng and got thrashed 10-1.
Little light of pace. He's okay, but just maybe not quite delivering the cue through as positively as you would have liked. He's having the cue ball cleaned as well. That's to take any kind of like possible kick skid out of the equation just because of this particular angle.
So it looks like job done. Scratch off the break. Has cost Kuo Po Cheng his lead. We're level again at 4-all. So no change on table 2. Shane van Boning still in front of Francesco Candela. That's 4-2. And David Alcady has got another one on the board against Dean Shields. So it's 7-2 now. He only needs 3 more to go through to face Kuo Po Cheng.
Yeah, Alcady's breaking away. It's been a great tournament so far for England's Dean Shields. By far the best run he's had in an open event. 7-2 Alcady.
Shields from the north of England like you, Carl. Is he someone you know much about?
No, not a great deal. He comes from the world of English 8-ball. Like my good self, but obviously I quit playing that game many years ago. So he's very much sort of come along after me. I mean, obviously I do know him, but he's been playing in a lot of the tournaments. Decided to have a go at playing some 9-ball a couple of years ago, and he loves it. Give him a lot of confidence moving forward. This obviously playing, there's one called Quang with all the crowd sort of cheering for Duong. That'll give him some good experience. That's a better break from Fran. It's going to be awkward though to clear the table. Saying to Phil in the previous match, Michael, that match between Biado and Manas, it was a phenomenal match. It really was. Probably one of the best matches I've ever done, actually. Had a little bit of everything. And whenever you know, we come to these events and there's a real handful of the Filipinos that enter, there's always a good few of them left near the end, isn't there? There really is.
Well, 6 of them in the last 16 here. You're the one who's known as box office boys, but my word, is Manas box office, because he just plays so well, so entertaining, but also he throws in a few unexpected misses here and there and makes a few positional errors, so that makes him even more appealing to watch.
Yeah, just 17 years of age. He's got a huge following online as well. He goes around the Philippines playing a lot of challenge matches, and if you've never seen AJ Manas online and you don't know what I'm talking about, have a little nosy, because some of the venues he plays in are pretty amazing as well. Safety for Ruiz. Needs the back rail. They don't find the back rail. This is choppable. This is cuttable now. I said, it just feels like it's a bit of a grind, this match, doesn't it? No one's really sort of kicked on.
Yeah, just gone back to AJ Manas. He's actually been in a ranking final. Showed a good bit of promise in 2023 and ended the year by getting to the final of the last ranking event of the year against Kuo Po Cheng in Singapore.
Again, another good bank shot. He had a bit of protection with the pink 4. It's an important part of 9-ball, learning how to bank the ball the correct way, the right speed.
Well, this one's going to take a bit of judgment. He's played this well.
Yeah, cue ball just keeps rolling though. It's okay. It's held up fine.
Two in a row then for FSR. He's back in front at 5-4. It's turning into a good session this for two-time World Masters champions. Because David O'Cady and Shane Van Boning are both very much on a roll. Van Boning has now won 6 racks in a row, having lost the first 2 to Francesco Candela. And David O'Cady 8-2 up now on Dean Shields. If O'Cady wins, he'll play Ko Pin-Yi in the last 16. That'll be a repeat of their match at that stage of this year's World Masters back in April. Ko prevailed on that occasion. We made our picks earlier today for the title, Carl. Jeremy went for Ko Ping Chung, although I did ban him from picking Americans, as he would do if he was left to his own devices. I went for Beato, who has just about survived through to the weekend. Now, you have the advantage of the fact that we're coming near the end of the day's play, but who do you like for the weekend?
Has Phil picked anybody before I start?
We've not asked him, actually.
Well, I'm going to go for Jason Shaw back to back. Needs the 2-ball to hold up. Oh, that does not look good for Ruiz.
So what's your thinking with Shaw then?
Yeah, I just think obviously he's coming here as defending champ. You know, he loves playing here. He's loved his time here. He's had a pretty good route to where he's got to so far and all. So he's built up that confidence that, you know, Jason needs, and that's when he sort of plays his best. So I don't know, I've just got a good feeling for sure this week to do it again.
Yeah, certainly played well on this table earlier. It's a 10-3 winner against Wang Ming, who made a decent start to the match, almost led 2-0 actually.
Just wonder if he'll try and play off the left side of the blue 2. Yeah, this has gone wrong, even if the result ends up okay, which it's not going to. He was trying to hit the blue 2 full into the pink 4, so the blue 2 stayed there where it was. He's mishit it and he's left it over the pocket.
Well, this is the sort of moment which can be quite significant in a match like this. There's never been more than one in it either way. It's been that sort of tussle. This is a chance for FSR to make that breakthrough and open the first multiple rack lead in the contest. Had to beat a lot of good players to win that Peri Open last week, including a couple of guys who've won major titles this year. Robbie Capito and Mickey Kraus, who he edged hill in the semis before going on to win a close final against Dimitris Lukatos, 13-11. So he's called the extension as he lines up. A not entirely guaranteed combination to go too clear. Too clear after winning 3 racks in a row. It's 6-4 to the Spaniard. Now, Dean Shields has stopped the rot, but he's still got a long way to go if he's to turn it around against David Al-Qaedi. It's now 8-3 to the Spanish player who potted the winning 9 in the Mosconi Cup last year. And 7 racks on the spin now for Shane Van Boning. So 7-2 up on Francesco Candela. Winner of that will play Harry Vergara in the last 16. And just a reminder that in this match, they're playing for the right to take on Skylar Woodward, who beat Ko Ping Han. First of the Ko brothers to exit this tournament. The other 2 will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, the final 16 is nearly been decided, and I'll tell you what, it is some lineup. The strength in the final 16 tomorrow always pretty is, pretty much, strong, Michael, isn't it? But, you just look at that there in front of us. Wow. What a bunch of players we've got left.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, we've got so many of these big, high-profile televised events now that there are more big names. There are more guys who have been far in one of these tournaments or more. But we always get new names coming through as well, don't we? Which is not always the case in every sport. It can get a bit samey, but it never seems to in 9-ball. Now here's someone who's been to the business end of many tournaments over the last couple of decades. Shane Van Boning was knocked out of this tournament last year by a wonderful fight back from Alban Ocean, who ended up almost winning the title. It's going to have to be quite a fight back now from Francesco Candela if Van Boning is to be denied his place in the last 16 this year. That is 8-2, and remember, Van Boning was 2-0 down.
Yeah, he can put packages together, can SVB. Obviously, we've not been watching the match, so we don't know if he's put a package together there, but something tells me he will have done. Fran's just gone out for a timeout. It's always a wise move. And he sort of took it at a time where it's been neck and neck all the way through, and he's now got a 2-rack lead, so he's obviously thought, I'll get out of here, I'll let Kuo Po Cheng sit in his chair, think about what's gone on.
Yeah, just looking at Van Boning there, he had a very eventful inaugural Hanoi Open last year. He lost to Kyle Amoroto, the young Philippines player, in winners' qualification, and he was 1 rack away from not even making the final 64. Just managed to get past Marvin Assis, 9-8. And beat Michael Baunan to get through to this stage, the last 32, and was looking pretty comfortable against Alban Ocean, but ended up being overtaken and losing 10 racks to 8. So if he can win on a couple more racks in that one, Van Boning will already have bettered what he did here in the Vietnamese capital last year. Another thing, of course, that we always say about the fields in 9-ball events these days, when we get down towards the finish, is how international they are. And we've got 6 Philippines players already in the last 16, 2 each from Indonesia and Chinese Taipei, Albania, USA, and your own country, Carl, Great Britain, have got 1 apiece. Still 3 more places to be filled. FSR is 4 away from claiming one of them.
9-ball's close. I'll tell you what's crazy, Michael, thinking about that. It seemed to be the case where we were seeing quite a few golden breaks at one point. Sort of when the break rule changed, they seem to be just sort of becoming less and less. I don't know why.
Hey, you know what? We're at the end of Friday's play, day 4, and I have not seen one in any of the matches I've watched.
Yeah, I've not seen one.
Remember the World Masters last year in Brentwood, and I think the changes had started to come in by then. And I think Max Lechner had 4 in one match, didn't he? And we were actually keeping a tally of them, which you can do in a single table event, and they were rampant that week in Essex.
Yeah, it's very strange why they seem to be less of them now. I don't know why.
You're on the old Twitter or X, aren't you, Carl? You're not anymore.
No.
Oh, I was going to say, if anyone is watching who can remember one this week, they could let us know.
No, I'm not, I'm afraid. Too much to keep up with, isn't it, Michael?
Well, it's just as well everyone in the pool world has your number anyway, Carl, so maybe they can contact you that way.
This is a little tricky. It's thin into that top right corner pocket as we look at the screens. You'd have to play it slow. I think he'll have a go though. He's played the bank. He's made some nice banks in this match. He's made another one there. That's the 3rd or 4th. Very attacking play. Smart play though, because if you look at the pink, the green and the brown ball, if he misses the bank, he's got half a chance of some cover, getting the hook. Well, he's played this nice and all. Okay. FSR, El Ferrari, is also known as. Is he just starting to kick on?
Well, it's felt that way, hasn't it, the last few racks? It was neck and neck, really. Bit of a struggle for both of them. We always felt, I guess, if one of them was going to kick on and start finding a bit of fluency, it was far more likely to be the man at the table now, and that's how it's panning out.
Three rails, 9-ball in the side. It's going to be another rack. And he really took the moment there, didn't he? Decided to go full on for the bank on the red 3. He made it, and it's another break and run.
Well, he was the dominant force in the game for about a year, not so long ago, and he's starting to really dominate this match. He's now leading 7-4. And that was after being 4-3 down. Shane Van Boning, is he going to get through with 10 racks in a row? He's 1 away from doing that. 9-2 now against Francesco Candela. And David Al-Kadi leads Dean Shields 8-3. They are the only other matches still going. on this 4th day of the Hanoi Open. It'll still be race to 10 tomorrow when we get to the last 16, and indeed tomorrow night for the quarterfinals, and then you know the drill now in these open events. Race to 11 for the back-to-back semi-finals in the early session on Sunday, and then race to 13 for the final on Sunday evening. Of course, it was 15 for the World Championship, and I think that was right, Carl, wasn't it, just to make it that bit special?
Yeah, without a doubt, Michael. What a tournament it was and all. Over in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Well, he made the one in the side 4 times in a row, but not this time. However, fair to say it's not turned out badly at all.
Yeah, this will work out handy. 2 balls gone on the break. This is actually okay. It's all going to be about red 3 ball to the pink 4.
Just going back to what we were saying, Carl, about our picks for the title. Phil Yates has declared his hand, and he's gone for Johan Chua. That's really going out on a limb, isn't it? Guy who was in the European Open final and the World Semis, staking his reputation. No, in all seriousness, though, that's a very viable pick. And Chua will be playing his fellow Philippines player, Jeffrey Ignacio, in the last 16 tomorrow.
Could have done with a bounce really off that top rail. I'm not quite sure if he can hold the cue ball or does it have to fly around the table. Well, SVB, he's on the 9.
Well, Francesco Candela gave Shane Van Bonen a good contest in the US Open. It looked as though he might do the same again today when he led 2-0, but he didn't win another rack. So Shane Van Bonen advances 10-2. There will be 2 Americans in the last 16. Skylar Woodward and Shane Van Bonen. And his next opponent will be Harry Vergara. Well, I do quite a bit of football work, Carl, on things like the Champions League and internationals, but I would never dream of using the well-worn phrase game of 2 halves. I'll use it here, though, about this contest, because that's really what it's been. Just a struggle early on, and in the second half, basically an FSR demonstration.
Yeah, when he went out for the timeout, maybe he looked at his good friend's scoreline and maybe he clocked Al-Qaeda. He was on a mission.
And that's another one ticked off. Only needs a couple more now to be through to the weekend's play. I mentioned football there a moment ago. I know Dean Shields is a Manchester United fan. I think he's probably won more matches this week than they have all season. But he will go no further in the Hanoi Open. His adventure here in Vietnam is at an end after a 10-3 defeat against David Al-Qaeda, who will now face Ko Pin-Yi for a place in the last 8. All of which means that the match we're watching is the last one going on this Friday in Hanoi. Just with his personality, he's going to be great to have around your team room in Manila next week, isn't he, FSR?
Yeah, both the Spanish players, David Al-Qaeda, FSR, as I said, good friends, good characters to be around, always smiling and sort of happy-go-lucky.
And undoubtedly happy with how this match is going for him. He's won 5 racks in a row, and he needs 2 more. Much needed glimmer for Kuo Po Cheng. It's actually the first dry break.
Yeah, just got to sort of thread the needle here, hasn't he? He's got to get that cue ball through them balls over for the blue 2 on the right. He should be okay. Oh wow, that's worrying. He's got away with one here. Missed that by an absolute mile.
Seemed to hesitate, pause for a while before pulling the trigger.
Having a good look at the 2-rail kick here. He's not really got many other options. Maybe 1 rail with left spin. Yeah, if he can just get through. A lot of balls on the table, so a lot of good things can happen. That's the rule of thumb. That's what you often think when you're kicking at balls, when there's loads of balls left on the table. Needs a rail, which he's got. Oh, he's not got away with it though, Michael. He's left the pot here. Kicking at that ball, he would have felt good things can happen. A little bit like what happened when Ruiz kicked at it, but it's not paid off here. Positional shot's gone wrong. Easy safety, could flick off the edge, run the cue ball towards that 8 ball or the red 3. The 9 balls in that area it often lands. That can also get cover. That's the shot he's playing. Yeah, so it will be the 8 or the 9 that gets the blockage. Such a big target. Had to play that.
Just looking at the draw for the last 16 here, Carl, and speculating to myself what might be the matches on the main table. I think if Sanchez Ruiz gets through to play Skylar Woodward, that would be an obvious candidate. So would Carlo Beato against Kuo Po Cheng. And you would have to say Ko Pin-Yi against David Al-Qaidi as well.
That has not worked out good.
Yeah, Kuo Po Cheng, as I said, his best days were some time ago, but he's had his moments in recent years as well. Was in the quarterfinals of a ranking event in China as recently as July of this year. Almost made single elimination at the US Open. Was beaten in losers qualification by Lu Riteng.
Wants this ball to keep rolling straight was the order of the day for Ruiz, so that's gone wrong. Now he's going to have to run the cue ball round a little bit. He's actually quite a lot short. If you look at that overhead camera, you wanted the cue ball near the head string, near the kitchen line.
Yeah, nicely executed. And this looks like another one on the board, and it would be the one to get him to the hill.
You summed it up before, Michael, didn't you? It's been a match of two halves. It started off very slow, a bit nip and tuck, back and forth. Players were making mistakes. It was 4-4.
Well, even prior to that, Kuo was ahead 4-3, so this is going to be half a dozen racks in a row for Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. And that is why he leads 9-4. And Kuo Po Cheng is going to have to win all of the last 6 racks if he's to stay in the Hanoi Open. As we look again at some of the moments of that rack. Missing the one in the side, he's done that a few times. It was actually the first dry break of the match. So Kuo Po Cheng got in with a chance to have a bit of an impact. And it didn't happen for him. And a sense of inevitability about it all now, and you have to say, a bit of a feeling of anticlimax as well after that wonderful match between Beato and Manus.
Yeah, FSR, 4 or 5 real nice bank shots in this match. And to be quite honest, that might be the difference, you know, because he's really like, you know, been faced with a couple of banks, and you know, it's easy to miss them and you ain't go on to lose the rack. But because he's made them, it's meant that he's gone on to win the rack. So he's showing his qualities there. Banking the ball.
One Spanish player already through. One more rack, and there'll be another one.
Well, that all looked a bit clumsy at first, didn't it? All the balls were just clattering near this corner, and if the 8 ball and the purple 5's a dead set combo, this could be a chance. Yeah, it was just a bit thin on the break, so the cue ball went down towards the corner. It looks close, that combo.
And now, the end could be close. It's only the second time we've been here for this tournament, Carl, but it's already become one of the highlights of the calendar. It's Asia's major, and 10 of our final 16 will be from Asia, 6 from the Philippines, 2 from Indonesia, which is significant, and 2, it seems, from Chinese Taipei. There'll also be 2 Americans in a few moments' time. We may well be confirming there'll be 2 from Spain, 1 from Albania, and 1 from Britain, the defending champion Jason Shaw. He may well win it all again this weekend. And what we do know is it's going to be a fierce battle for this title. We've got the Mosconi Cup narrative as well on both sides. What a weekend in prospect here in Hanoi.
Yeah, at the start of the week, 256 players started, and if you could handpick 16 to finish, you wouldn't be far off with the talent we've got on show. One good pot hit. The cannon went wrong. If you knock it in, you should have a shot on the 8 ball. This always feels like it's the 9 ball really in the match, because you know if you pot it, you're going to pot the 8 and 9. So you just build yourself up for this one. One more good shot. And you can just see he's building himself up for it. Try and stay still. Decelled, missed it by a mile. He's not fluked it, has he? Okay, so it's not quite over just yet.
Can you build yourself up a bit too much for the shot? I remember being out watching Oscar Dominguez in his deciding rack earlier, and he was up and down several times on a key ball right at the end, which probably would have won him the match if he'd got it, and I felt it counted against him in the end.
I think you can, but I think the reason why we do it is because there's been times where we've felt we've rushed the shot. So it's trying to find that happy medium, you know, that balance, which is not easy to. He's going real first here, though. This ball might slide on him, might not get back down table. Well, he's took his medicine, quite smart. Just leave himself a thin one.
Probably the difference between match over and continuing into another rack. Well, it may not be, yeah, because he could finish up on the 9 here. Oh,
look at the bounce, though.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You fancied if he made the 8, he was on the 9. But we've seen plenty of those bounces in this match.
Good to see Fran laughing. Finds it funny.
And he could be laughing all the way to the last 16 in a moment. That was harsh on Kuo.
Yeah, this is not easy. This is not over the pocket. Do not be fooled. If he's going to pot this ball, it is very thin. Cue ball's going to be flying around. It's got a chance of going in pockets. Didn't get close, did he?
No, but this is another one of those shots that's horrible to have when your opponent's on the hill and has a big lead. Well, it feels a long time ago now since Kuo Po Cheng made that 4-9 combination in the 7th rack to lead 4-3. After that, he lost 6 in a row, and he was on the brink of losing another one there. But he's managed to get the job done. And so we will continue. It is 9-5. I talked about a weekend to look forward to in Hanoi, and I think we're all intrigued to see just what sort of an atmosphere there's going to be. It was absolutely game-changing, to use that well-worn modern cliche, when we came here last year, and there were 3,000 people here at the finish, as we see that 8 that just wriggled in there. And the crowds have been steadily building all through this week again, and there is wonderful excitement around here about the possibility of enjoying that atmosphere once more. I think it's opened people's eyes, really, to what you can achieve with a big pool event in Asia. Matchroom have said that they don't think the Reyes Cup would even be happening next week if it wasn't for the success of Hanoi last year. So, can Kuo Po Cheng prolong his stay in Hanoi a bit longer?
Not going to get a look at the red 3 ball. That's the lowest ball on the table.
Peri Open win was the second ranking title Sanchez Ruiz had won this year. He won the tournament that bears his name, the FSR Open in Lugo, against his great pal David Al-Kaidi back in March. So he's now won 7 ranking titles since the current system began, which is more than anyone else, one ahead of Federer Gorst and Jason Shaw. They might have to wait a bit longer to take another step towards this title, because this is another chance for Kuo Po Cheng. He's won 2 racks in a row a couple of times already in this match. Once was to lead 2-1, another time was to lead 4-3. It's a very different situation now. He's battling to stay in the tournament. And odds on now, he's going to do so for at least one further rack. Well, not exactly what he had in mind, but should be okay. He's known as the Little Monster, and he's giving Francisco Sanchez Ruiz a bit of a fright here. Could have been all over in the previous rack at 10-4. Instead, we're still playing, and it's now 9-6.
Yeah, racks can soon start to disappear and you put yourself under silly pressure, especially when you know the match should be over.
Yeah, we've seen matches won from worse positions. And that was the 9 with the bridge down the side rail. That made it 2 in a row. It's been a long day here in Hanoi, and most of the crowd have ebbed away, but good to see quite a few are still here to watch the last remaining match. So he needed 6 in a row. He's got 2. Oh, fortune has deserted him there, though.
Yeah, too thin. The cue ball come off the yellow one and went near the corner pocket, ended up getting kissed up the top end of the table, and where do you play the push out to?
Yeah, looked as though he was going to have a shot from distance on the 2, but the 7 just at the last intervened.
That's no good, I'm afraid, because he can pot the blue too. The push out's gone wrong.
Yeah, when you've had one of your best runs in a big tournament for some time, it'd be a fairly anticlimactic way to go out of it, to finish on a botched push out.
It's not going to be easy to control the cue ball here. He might take a gamble and just go into the 3 ball or the 9 and hit it half ball. Yeah, see how he's just flicked the 9? It was always going to be a bit tricky to avoid cannons. This is the shot here. Pot this ball in the side pocket and try and get on the pink 4. If he gets on the pink 4, it should be over. He feels like going forward to the cue ball. He's flicking the 9. That's the problem. If the cue ball went forward and hit the 9 ball full in its face, this match would be over.
So another chance to get it done now. Well, it could end up being an amazing few weeks in Asia for Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Won a big tournament last week. Got a chance to win an even bigger one here. Could get his Mosconi Cup place wrapped up. And of course, he's got the Reyes next week. And at this moment, it's all about trying to polish off these last few balls.
This will worry him a little bit, because he knows for the duration of this match, this top rail's just been pinging a little bit. So he should take a little bit of pace off this with the cue ball. Very similar circumstances here. It's not ideal. Might end up having to play the 9 in the same pocket as the 8. Oh, he just basically tried to draw it in and come over, leave himself a long 9. It's as good as he could have done.
Well, he found it hard for a long time to shake off the challenge of Kuo Po Cheng in this match. And he started to play pretty well. Went from 4-3 down to 9-4 in front. Lost the next couple of racks. But he's taken his opportunity this time. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is the last man through to the weekend. He has defeated Kuo Po Cheng by 10 racks to 6. And he will be back here tomorrow to play the US Mosconi Cup captain Skylar Woodward in the last 16 of the Hanoi Open. And that is the last action of today's play. The trademark smile of FSR